Good morning, everyone. Today we're checking out a brand new video from Popcross Studios called The Demon of Rage. Fear of the Demon Hunters, Episode 11. When we last left off, Clayton was pretty much on the verge of dying because he was stabbed through the chest as via the sword of our main girl's hornet form, but not by her own hand. And there's only one way to technically save him. Yeah, time to turn Clayton into a demon.
Previously, on Fear of the Demon Hunters, Vivian Sabrayo was left alone at the Colorado campgrounds where she and her allies had just completed a mission and gone up against the Predator Coalition of Demon Hunters' most famous member, Koshmara Naroi. Vivian was proud of herself for having been able to hold her own against Koshmara by taking on the form of a fallen demon general, Sori Eklis, though the fight did end on good terms with Mara before she left. Unfortunately, the demon general Zuphiathan appeared before Viv and tossed her into his domain to try and kill her himself. Though he had a backup plan waiting for her in case that wasn't going too well.
Clayton.
He'd also captured recently fired demon hunter Clayton Costas. Zuphiathan got the two of them into the same space in his domain, and Clayton tried to kill Vivian and was getting close to succeeding.
Yeah.
She was only trying to protect herself and fighting back, but Zuphiathan then used Viv's own fallen weapon to stab Clayton through the heart. The demon then released them from his domain
Which is slowly killing him, but, as everyone gathered, they were like, there's only one thing to do. Well, what is it? Just do it. I make him a demon. And how do you do that? I don't know!
In front of Vivian's ally Capri, and in front of commander of the coalition Tamika Wiggins, along with two other hunters. It clearly looked like Vivian had been the one to bring Clayton to the brink of death, but nobody seems overly convinced that that is the case, and they're all more focused on trying to save Clayton's life. His wounds are too bad for even Capri to save him, but Vivian had an idea that may be terrible but may also work. By turning once more into a demon general, she may be able to convert Clayton's body into a demon, like former demon queen and current ally.
I mean, of course, that is the plan, but still.
Arava once did to Vivian herself. Clayton's stubbornness and hatred for demons may theoretically be enough for his soul to come back and take control of his body, thereby saving his life. But
hopefully.
That is far from a guaranteed result. Let's see how it works out in the next episode of Fear of the Demon Hunters.
I wonder what it's gonna be. Just from the thumbnail, it seems like the demon form he is put into seem kind of animalistic.
Excuse me? Turn Clayton into a demon? You're gonna have to give me a second here while I find something to help me reach the top row of the stupid shelf where that idea is sitting, because that is a top shelf stupid idea. He's a big enough pain as a human. What do you think he's gonna be like as a demon? Commander Wiggins yelled.
Pissed off but alive.
Vivian stared Tamika in the eyes with more confidence than ever before. It's your choice, Commander, but the options are let him die or get him back to Arava and try this, because if Capri can't heal him, getting him to a hospital isn't going to do him any good either. Wiggins stared down at the barely breathing body laying in the snow. She didn't have long to consider, and she knew it. Oh, fine. He hates demons so much he might just off himself the second he gets control back, but I guess it's worth a shot. But me, Betsy, and Bobo are coming with you. If his soul don't come back in, you're going to have a pretty crazy demon to take down, and we'll need all the help you can get. Viv looked at Capri. He looked back.
No point.
They'd intentionally kept their home base a secret from the Coalition, so they couldn't come and try to take Arava away. But they both knew in that moment they didn't have time to worry about that. Viv had been in Zuphiathan's domain long enough that Capri had come back to get her, run into Tamika, and had a brief chat about all the good Vivian, Arava, and Jax had done over the last few weeks. His teleportation ability had also re-energized. Vivian found the watch Mara had given her laying in the snow, clamped it on, then gathered up with the others, for Capri to teleport them all outside his isolated cottage home. Arava and Jax were both standing outside waiting impatiently, and were immediately put on guard seeing the Coalition members arrive with Clayton's limp body. Arava leapt back onto the wooden patio and made tendrils burst out of the ground before her.
What are they doing here? Did you sell me out? What is this?
Vivian marched quickly towards her.
Yeah.
Arava, we don't have time for you to be defensive right now. I just fought off Koshmar and Naroi to protect you. Do you really think I'd sell you out at this point? Arava's breathing had gotten fast, but as Vivian remained calm and collected, Arava slowly started shifting back there too.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
But I also never would have expected you to kill Clayton.
she said, looking at the orange needles sticking out of his body.
Okay, technically I didn't kill him. He was killed, but not by me. It was my weapon, not me.
I didn't. It's a long story, but he's on the brink of dying, and the only way to
thought
save him
Zuvaya
is...
said.
Why would you want to save him? He sucks.
Arava interrupted. Vivian pressed on. The only way to save him is to turn him into a demon, like you did to me. Is that something I can do if I use Plan S again?
If you stop calling it that, then yeah, I guess.
Ooh,
If you
she
really
can.
want to.
Hell
Still
yeah.
seems like a waste of time to me.
Viv grunted. I get it, but like it or not, he has saved a lot of lives as a demon hunter. Arava stared at Clayton's body, now laying in the grass with Coppery still doing his best to at least slow down Clayton's demise. The former demon queen groaned.
Fine, I guess if he does come back with demon powers, he might finally grow up a bit and get that people with those abilities can still be good too. Might force him to mature at least a little bit.
Viv was
That's a
taken
great
aback by that
outcome.
conclusion. Tamika heard it and seemed mildly impressed herself. Arava made her tendrils disappear and marched cautiously closer to Clayton and the demon hunters near him. She glanced up and made brief, awkward eye contact with Tamika.
This form that he's drawn him is kind of bamboo-like. No, not bamboo, my mistake. Baboon. You know, the big monkeys with the multicolored face? But it's also got, like, saber-tooth tusk.
Commander,
Teeth, whatever.
how are the kids?
Tamika raised an eyebrow and gripped her shotgun tighter. That some sort of threat? Arava growled.
No, me asking how your kids are isn't a threat, Wiggins.
Sounds like it coming from the Demon Queen,
I'm not the
Ex-Demon
demon
Queen.
queen anymore.
Arava snapped back. Viv interrupted. Enough. Commander, please, step back. Arava, tell me what to do after I transform. Viv got anxious thinking about how she'd referred to herself as the new Demon Queen back in Zuphiathan's domain.
It was
If
in the heat of the moment. You were literally just talking. And just like, bow before the new queen. You know, because, you know, hot heated moment. You're just like panicking. Just talking, talk.
Clayton came back, would he tell people about that? She said she'd only been trying to scare Zuphiathan, but part of her knew that wasn't true. The idea of having command over all demons was kind of exciting to her. Plus, if they did actually take her orders, she might be able to make them do more good than bad. But that was just a wishful idea at this point.
That would still be
Vivian
troublesome.
focused on Sorieklis, and her body started to crack and warp and shake. Viv had a slight satisfied grin on her face as she transformed, but the demon hunters all looked disgusted. Oh, that is nasty and sounds painful as hell. You gotta smile while you do that, final girl? It's creepy.
It was.
Tamika shuddered. Viv got anxious as Tamika said that, and as a result, the transformation started to properly and truly hurt. Did enjoying these transformations really make her some kind of freak? Was she becoming too much like the demons she changed into? The transformation was
Maybe
getting
a
more and more
pinch.
painful as the anxious thoughts set in. Thankfully, Coppery noticed, and his calming voice came through to her. Vivian, remember to allow and release all negative feelings that arise, not
Let
only
in
fear.
and let out.
It was as if he'd read her mind. She let the anxious thoughts and feelings pass, and continued her transformation, as Coppery said, While this process is painful and difficult, Vivian has begun to enjoy her transformations. It may seem masochistic at a glance, but this is not the case. Again, it was
It
like
is
he was
unknown.
reading her mind and speaking directly to her own concerns. He went on, While I do not claim to be able to speak for her, I imagine it is in the same regard as a bodybuilder enjoying a painful workout. Would you consider someone who goes to the gym consistently for difficult exercises to be a masochist? Oh yeah, for sure, the hunter Bobo said from behind Tamika.
Oh, okay
Well,
then.
my assumption was the response to that would be no. Betsy elbowed Bobo in the side. No, Bobo meant no. Liking painful workouts is totally normal, totally cool. Coppery was a bit thrown off, but went on. Well, what I mean
Oh, God.
is if you do something painful or difficult long enough to see the good that it can do for you or even others, then there comes to be a sort of pleasure in the discomfort. A painful
Really?
workout
Yeah.
may still be painful, but seeing the physical growth and strength that comes from it turns it into a positive experience. The same could be said for Vivian's transformations and the injuries she sustains in battle.
You could kind of actually also think about, in a way, of how Mark Grayson is reacting to his training that has been going on throughout Invincible. Probably more so with season one, and with his training actually against his dad Nolan, and before eventually agreeing to work with Cecil at the end of season two, and the walkout that we would be seeing him beginning at the season three start. Which means he, never mind.
They may be painful,
I mean, yes, that is what I was going for, but that would be the end of it. Just done. Season 3.
but she knows they are all a part of the process of using her incredible abilities to protect people from demons. Vivian hadn't thought about it that way before. She did still think a part of her had gotten so used to the pain that she did find it sort of fascinating to experience different kinds of it, but in that simple explanation, Capri had certainly made her feel a bit less like a freak. The transformation finally ceased, and she'd once again become her own version of the demon general Sorieklis. She knelt down next to Clayton's body. Alright, Arava, what...
I am the new Sorieklis. Just need to think of a new name. Vinieklis. Nope. Moving on.
do I do?
Okay, well, the first thing you gotta know is that you don't actually have to understand how you're doing what you're doing. You're going to be manipulating the energy structure of Clayton's body, and manipulating energy is all about intention and intuition. You basically set the intention of what you want to do, in this case change him into a demon, and just do what comes intuitively without thinking about it. So, first thing I want you to do is, without thinking about it, set the intention to see Clayton's energy body instead of his physical body.
Vivian stared at Clayton,
okay.
and nothing happened, other than she saw just how much blood he'd lost, and how slow his breathing was. She started thinking about whether it was too late. Maybe he was beyond saving. Maybe that was a good thing. Maybe she couldn't do this anyway. I still see him. It's not working. Viv stammered anxiously with everyone watching.
It'll work when you decide that it is working.
Just say,
Arava
it's
replied
walking.
surprisingly calmly.
There it goes.
Viv took a slow breath and let all her thoughts go silent. She then very plainly said in her head, I intend to see him as energy. As soon as she did, Vivian nearly fell back in shock. Everything around Clayton went dark, and his body had transformed into a writhing, chaotic map of glowing orbs and lines. There were
Awesome.
sparks and streams of red lightning scattering everywhere. The energy swirled all around her body, moving through her and behind her and above her. It was overwhelming at first, and she simply wanted to step away. But one thing held her in. She noticed very faintly in the center of it all was a dim, golden light. There was red lightning sparking all around it, but it was there. The longer Vivian focused on it, the more she thought she could hear the faint sound of a crying child. Vivian wasn't entirely sure what that meant, but she wanted to.
I got something.
The more she focused on it, the more she got the sense that the only way to find out was to keep going with the plan. She thought to herself, I intend to change this form into that of a demon. The second she thought that, 5 black orbs of smoke emerged from her own body and hovered before her. At first, they just floated there, and she tried to think of what she was meant to do with them. But then she heard Arava in her head.
Don't think, just do.
Instinctively, Viv
Fucking Yoda up in this?
reached out and grabbed the 4th black orb. She then reached her other hand forward, and a green sphere of light across the mass of writhing energies soared towards her. She gripped it, then pushed the black smoke onto it, merging the two together. The green light faded, and black smoke started spreading down the beams of light, connecting the formerly green energy to the others. The red lightning sparking across the various energies suddenly grew stronger, and started merging into the black smoke, turning it red as well. Thoughts kept coming up, trying to convince Vivian to try and figure out what it was she was actually doing here, but anytime she let them linger, her progress would halt. Soon she got into a flow. She was floating around the space as if she'd shrunk down at some point to be inside Clayton's energy body. She had no idea what Tamika and the others were seeing, but the experience became an exhilarating one for Vivian. It was like she was constructing a living puzzle without getting to see the full results until she was done. All the while, she could hear the faint crying emanating from the golden light, which was slowly getting brighter. Viv had no idea how long she was doing what she was doing, but just allowed herself to enjoy the process. It almost reminded her of playing some kind of musical rhythm video game.
Oh yeah,
The orbs
I
and
could
lights
see
appeared,
that.
and she moved them as they needed to be moved. Eventually, she reached a point where nothing new was arising. She looked around at the energy structure before her. It was similar to how it had once been, but also different. The red lightning was far more present than it had been when she'd first seen it, but it was now more organized, moving through every inch of the structure.
Like a
The golden light
socket.
itself was encased within 3 layers of red lightning. Viv felt strange about that, but also somehow understood that that was what needed to be done. She didn't know
guess
what she
you've
was
done
supposed to
it.
do now that she was finished, but she didn't need to decide. The next thing she knew, she was being tackled to the grass. Her vision returned to normal, and Jax was on the ground next to Viv, getting up quickly and clutching his warhammer. Great job, I guess? Let's hope his soul takes the bait.
Okay,
Viv
here we
looked
go.
past Jax to see a shrieking, furious monstrosity of a demon. He was almost entirely red, with some streaks of black coursing through his lean, muscular body, shaped almost like a 10-foot tall baboon. White shocks of hair
Awesome.
burst from his head, face, and the end of his tail. Veins of glowing magma-like energy emerged from his chest and eyes, and shattered red glass floated around him, moving in jerking, twitching motions as he turned and shrieked in fury at everyone surrounding him. Arava and Capri were on one side of the new demonic Clayton. Tamika and her hunters were on the other, unsure of what to
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the new Clayton, the Demon of Rage.
do. The demon shook and shrieked like a scared and furious animal. Capri spoke. Clayton, this is your body. You can take it back and control it.
Yes,
He
you
whipped
can.
around to scream in Capri's face. As he did, Clayton's tail swung around at the hunters. Tamika ducked under it, but it smacked against both Betsy and Bobo, making them
Ooh.
stumble backwards. Ow! I really ain't liking the looks of this, Betsy. What? Why, Bobo? We've seen demons before, right? This is fine. The anxious
It's
hunter
new.
replied, clutching a bow staff.
Definitely new.
Bobo's foot shook as he gripped tighter around what looked like a silver saxophone that he clearly intended to use as a weapon. I mean, no diss on us. I know we're about to pass our hunter test to become fully certified and all, and good on us for that, but, I mean, folks here are like an angel, a transforming demon gal, the coalition commander. Doesn't everyone here feel like they've got a lot more main character energy than we do? If anyone's dying here, who do you think it's gonna be? Betsy
Oh crap,
nodded.
he's got a point.
Yeah, I'm getting that vibe too. Plus, being one mission away from certification, sort of like being a cop in a movie who keeps saying they're 1 week away from retirement, right?
Yeah.
Oh, good lord, you're right. The demon shrieked again, lunging closer to Capri.
Oops.
A wave of dark red smoke bellowed out of its mouth and swirled around the Archangel. Clayton, I don't want to hurt you. No, that's
Oh?
not true. Capri took a deep
Oh.
breath and the red smoke was
Okay.
sucked into his nostrils. I do want to hurt you. I hate you, Clayton. I've always hated
The red smoke makes people pissed off. Oh, I love this.
you, as should everyone who's ever known you. Capri swung his club at the demon in fury and smacked it right across the head. Red ash sprung off Clayton, but red lightning immediately burst from the wound and healed the dent over with harder, more armor-like skin.
Holy
Arava
shit.
saw this happen and held her breath, hovering up over the smoke. She swooped over to Viv and floated down next to her.
Well, this is new.
She muttered in awe of the demon. Viv asked, "What is it? What kind of demon is he? Like fear of anger or something?" Arava shook her head, watching as Capri struck the demon over and over, only making wounds that grew.
I think I get it now. Well, Clayton's final emotion and his primary one that he kept feeling all throughout his life was rage, anger, and just a desire to destroy demons. And so it was so embedded in him, it actually became a part of his very soul, his very energy itself.
Grew back sturdier with each furious blow laid against Clayton. Arava replied,
I don't think it's a demon of fear at all. Usually making a demon will draw on the biggest fear a person has, and make them a demon that reflects that. Maybe Clayton really wasn't scared of anything, or maybe he was just such an angry person that it was more dominant than any of his fears. I
Exactly,
think
yes.
instead of making a demon of fear, you made him a demon of rage.
After a dozen blows of Capri's mace,
Oh,
Clayton finally
crap.
snatched Capri out of the air, moving like lightning. He slammed Capri on the ground 3 times, then held him in place and breathed even more dark crimson smoke into his face. Capri's eyes literally went red, and he clawed at the demon's arms.
You don't deserve to live. I tried to help you. I tried.
Ooh.
A shotgun blast rang out, then again and again. The shot struck the demon's legs and tail. The wounds sizzled and didn't heal immediately like Capri's strikes. Tamika marched around the demon methodically, targeting spots that wouldn't be lethal to a human. Costas, you in there or not? 'Cause if you ain't, my aim is gonna get a little different. He hurled Capri across the ground, whipped around, and breathed another wave of smoke at Tamika. She tried to take a quick breath before it hit her, but a small spurt of the fog still got into her. Her eyes became bloodshot. Her focused expression became furious. She fired again right for the demon's chest. Part of me always wanted to kill you, Snow Scalp. Thanks for finally giving me a good reason. She fired again and again at his chest and head, but now, every time she hit him, the wounds grew back stronger, like with Capri's enraged hits. Bobo and Betsy were still standing far back. Betsy muttered, "What do we do, Bobo? That smoke stuff seems like bad news. Hold our breath, get in close and kneecap him?" Bobo replied,
stay back.
"I can't hold my breath that long, especially not while I'm kneecapping someone. I thought those Einsteino demons were bad, but this thing is nuts." Betsy replied, "Maybe we ain't ready to become hunters after all. Think the Subaru dealership would take me back now?" "Didn't you tell the manager to suck it as you were getting out of there?" "Well, yeah, but I didn't say what it was. Maybe I could have meant like a popsicle or a lollipop or something nice." "Hey," Jax interrupted, running in front of them. "Relax. Commander Wiggins wouldn't have brought you on a mission if she didn't think you could handle it, right? I was even more freaked out when I went on my first jobs, but you just have to push through. You just have to learn to be calm in the storm, all right?"
That's right.
They both stared at him. Bobo muttered,
"Calm in the storm."
"Wow, that's beautiful, brother." Betsy added, "Yeah, you some kind of poet or something?" He shook his head. "Just something I learned the hard way, and hopefully you won't have to. Now let's keep this thing distracted and give Clayton's soul some time to get a grip." Jax ran behind the demon away from Tamika and Capri. "Hey, Clayton, over here!" He whipped around and stared furiously at Jax, ignoring the shots pelting into his back from Tamika. "Come on, Clayton, you want to get me all smoked up too, or what?" He sprinted on all fours over to Jax. Jax took a long, deep breath, then held it in as the demon skidded to a stop in front of him and breathed a swell of smoke all around him. He kept holding his breath even as the demon thrust its head inches in front of his own and roared in his face. He kept holding it in and just calmly stared the demon down, waiting to see what it would do if it couldn't get him angry. Unfortunately, another shot rang out. Most pellets struck Clayton's back, but 2 of the shotgun's projectiles zipped past it and struck Jax's leg. He let out the briefest wince of pain, then tried to hold again, but he still took in some of the smoke. His eyes started going red too, and he swung with his hammer, joining Capri and Tamika in their rage-filled assault. Arava growled,
"Maybe being stubborn isn't enough. Maybe Clayton's soul is already gone. We might have to kill the demon before it gets all of us angry, and we just make it even stronger."
Damn it.
Viv watched as her allies all furiously attacked the demon of rage. Inspired by Jax's words, Bobo and Betsy had run to opposite sides.
"Wait, the golden light, of course. Vivian, quick, you need to get back to the energy field."
Of the demon. One goaded it towards them, then when it got too close, the other ran in, hit it from behind, and ran away, to get it to follow after them instead. It was a decent distraction, but it wouldn't fall for that for long. Vivian was trying to think up a plan, but then decided to just let that go. Maybe, like the energy structuring, acting on intuition was better. She started transforming back into her human form. Arava stared at her in confusion.
"Oh, here we go."
Viv, I think Soriaklis is our best bet against this thing. You made him in that form, so he may even have some allegiance to you."
Through Arava's words and the warping and cracking of her transformation, Viv could still hear the quiet crying from within Clayton. She still didn't know what it was.
Oh my god. Oh, you gonna get his soul back by just hugging the demon?
But part of her knew that that was their only hope in getting Clayton to take control.
I swear, if you do,
she got back to her human form, then took a good long look at the demon before her.
Laugh.
"When I use the demonitrix and a demon tries to keep me from having control over their body, it's like I'm battling for control with their, for lack of a better term, their soul."
That's right.
Arava looked from Viv back to the demon.
Huh. Well, it's worth a shot. Be careful in there.
Oh, she's gonna try to take over the demon.
Viv started transforming again. Her arm began to grow first, then shift into a deep red hue. Clayton's arm began to shrink in on itself and disappear. He snarled and looked over at Vivian. He charged towards her on 3 limbs. Arava marched forward. Her arms shook as she raised them into the air. She groaned in pain as a dozen tendrils, bigger than she usually made, sprang from the ground all around the Demon of Rage. They all latched onto the demon's slowly shrinking body and held it back. It tore and ripped at the tendrils, pulling free briefly, only to be bound again. Arava's whole body shook and black ooze started spilling from her eyes and nose, but she kept holding the creature back. Capri flew towards it and swung his mace. Arava let one tendril loose and moved it into his path to throw him off course. Tamika fired another shot at the demon, so Arava used that same tendril to snatch her gun and aim it away, all while still struggling to keep the demon from reaching Viv. Thankfully, the more she transformed, the more the demon shrunk and withered away.
Yes.
Within a couple minutes, there was nothing left for Arava to hold, and she let her tendrils fade away. She turned back and saw the Demon of Rage was now behind her, but with the Demonatrix emerging from its shoulder. Vivian had control now.
Yes!
Through a demon link, she said to Arava, "Okay, I'm in, and I think I can see, or feel him. I just need some time to..." A shot rang out once again, striking Viv in the head. It healed stronger, but clearly made Vivian angry right back.
Tamika, I'm in control now. Back off or the Coalition is gonna lose its sorry excuse for a leader today.
She growled through the demon's gritted teeth. Tamika snarled, cocking her gun. "Yeah, that's right, final girl. Threaten me all you want and prove you're the demon Clayton tried so hard to convince me you were. Both y'all can go to hell." Arava turned back.
Viv, don't fall for all the anger in there. Focus.
Right.
I'll keep these guys distracted. I know someone they've all hated a lot more than Clayton.
You.
She hovered up into the air and made more tendrils emerge below her.
Wiggins, you really want to waste your bullets on Viv when I'm here? How many of your hunters have me and my demons killed now, huh? Hundreds? I know Avery's one of them, right, Jax? Capri, how's the family doing?
Oh
yeah, most of them are demons or are dead or don't talk to you now because of me, right?
Yeah.
She choked on her words as she directed them all to aim at her. Shots rang out, Capri flew at her, and she just hoped she could distract them long enough while staying alive. Meanwhile, Vivian was seeing through the eyes of the furious demon and feeling the fury herself, but turned her vision inward. She thought to herself, "I intend to speak with Clayton's soul." Suddenly, she could see the energy structures again, and her body was drawn straight towards the golden light in the center. She passed through the 3 layers of crimson light all around it, and felt the pains of undying fury in her gut. Finally, she was enveloped in golden light. When it cleared, she was in a dimly lit room of an old-looking house. The couch and desk and television were destroyed. The walls and floor were covered in green slime. Sat in the midst of it all was Clayton, albeit a younger version of him, looking to be in his late teens. She almost didn't recognize him because his hair was nearly black. "Clayton?"
Oh, damn. So he didn't have white hair all his life. Okay.
"Is that you?" she asked quietly. He didn't move. He was completely frozen with a look of devastation and anger on his face. He wasn't crying, but she soon heard a whimper behind her. "That was the last time I ever got to do anything." She turned and saw what looked like another version of Clayton sitting on the destroyed couch, but this one was barely older than a toddler. Tears stained his cheeks.
Oh, geez.
"I wanted to beat the rage, but I couldn't. He had so much. It was always there, but it just kept getting worse after the day he lost his dad." Viv stepped closer and he instantly pushed back away from her, as if trying to bury himself in the couch. She stopped approaching and slowly knelt down. Are you Clayton's soul?" He ignored the question. "His dad was the only one who ever liked him, or at least that's what he thought. After he died, he just kept making sure that stayed true. I wanted people to like him so badly. I thought Koshimara would help him see that things could get better, that people could care. But whenever I helped someone good come into his life, he'd eventually hurt them the most and make sure nothing good ever happened to him.
Oh, damn.
He was convinced everyone hated him, so He always made sure there was more evidence that that was the truth. Vivian's heart sank more and more with every word. We can fix this though, right? With our help, with some good people around him, around you. The tears had stopped coming, but the boy just shook his head. I think I knew it would be a hard life, a stubborn ego to take on. I thought I could handle it, but it was too much.
It's
Too
always
much
troublesome.
anger, too much hate, too determined for there to always be more. He finally looked Vivian anxiously in the eyes. Please don't make me stay here. I haven't had control for years. I won't be able to start now, and it's so angry in here. It hurts so much watching him make more anger everywhere he goes, and he never listens to me. Viv stared at him, unsure.
It seems like Clayton's soul was split at some point. I mean, the death of his father, it seems. One part is the true Clayton. That's the one that's still represented by the young child. That can only be sad and cry. The one that looks more like a young teen, a late teen, young adult, is the Clayton that's been in control for years. One of rage, anger. Well, he's the one that's been causing everything.
Of what to say. She kept thinking of things, but nothing seemed right. She knew she'd said Clayton was irredeemable, but she didn't want to believe that was actually true about anyone. Before she could come up with anything to say, tears started coming again as the boy begged. Please, please, just let me go. I promise I'll do better next time, but if I could take back control, I would have a long time ago. Please, let me go. Vivian leaned slightly closer. What do you mean, next time? He just nodded and kept crying. I promise, I will. Please, let me go. I don't want to hurt anyone anymore. Vivian didn't
Nope, yeah, I was right. That is indeed Clayton's true soul.
completely understand, but also got the sense that understanding this experience fully was beyond her. Still, she intuitively knew what she needed to do for this sad and tired soul. She said, I intend to set you free. Suddenly, she was back in that field, in the form of the Demon of Rage. She saw Arava cowering behind some of her tendrils. Her head was bleeding, her leg was visibly broken. Shotgun blasts were tearing through her tendrils, and Jax and Clayton were furiously swinging at her with their weapons. Arava was just protecting herself, not attacking back. She looked both terrified and determined at the same time. Viv leapt straight at her in demon form, shoving Capri and Jax away. She snatched Arava and stood over her, staring at the three assailants. Viv could sense her own abilities in this form and took a massive deep breath in. As she did that, Tamika, Jax, and Capri all choked and gasped as red smoke flew back out of their throats and nose and dissipated into the air. As soon as that happened, Capri and Jax's expressions went from furious to horrified. Capri tried to fly forward.
Arava, I'm so sorry,
But Viv snarled at him to stay back. She could already feel the fury of this demon setting in again, making her want to tear her own friends apart for what they'd just done under the influence of the rage. She roared.
Everyone get inside now.
She waved her head in the direction of the cottage. Bobo and Betsy didn't hesitate, sprinting right for the door. The others followed soon after, and immediately went to the window to watch. Viv looked down at her badly wounded ally. Arava glanced up at her.
What took you so long, huh, Viv? Not all of us like pain as much as you do.
Viv could feel the fury building up again, but she continued to let it pass. She started to transform back to her human self. As she did, the Demon of Rage was rematerializing as itself a few feet ahead. It shrieked furiously, waiting for its legs to fully reform to run at her. Soon Viv's arm was all that was left to transform, and as it did, she marched calmly towards the demon. It completely returned and stomped forwards to meet her. It roared and released another wave of red smoke. Viv let herself calmly breathe it in. Furious thoughts rushed to mind, but she let all of them pass. Anger stewed in her gut, but she allowed it to be there and didn't act on it.
Take it in.
As soon as it had come up, it dissipated. The demon could sense the lack of rage and breathed another cloud of smoke around her. She took it in, felt the fury, and once again
and
let
out.
it pass. The demon began panting, as if confused and afraid itself. Vivian looked it in its eyes and put a hand gently on its cheek. As soon as she did, white smoke started billowing off that spot. The demon's legs and arms started twitching, and its tail writhed as if in pain, but it didn't retreat. Quietly, Vivian said, "I think your soul did the best it could. I'm sorry your life was so full of anger, Clayton." She slowly slid her arm up its neck, moved her other arm up next to it, and gently wrapped the demon in a hug. More white steam
I knew that was gonna be a hug!
began billowing off it. Its body shook like an earthquake, but it didn't try to get away. The smoke spread farther around it.
I
Red
knew it.
and black ashes started floating off it as its body withered away. Soon,
Aw.
it shrunk down to the form of a human, built from flaking black and red ash.
Wait.
Viv stepped slightly back, but keeping a hand on its shoulder. The figure's arm raised and set gently on Vivian's opposite shoulder. The young voice of Clayton said, "Thank you. I promise I will do better next time."
Oh.
Finally, the body crumbled and blew off in the breeze.
Nope, Clayton's dead. Damn it! Damn it! No! Clayton's dead! I knew the guy was an asshole, but still, I don't want him dead. He could have been a great ally. No! Clayton! Damn it!
Well, if everything goes as planned, we're down to 2 episodes left in Fear of the Demon Hunters, which I'm probably going to do back to back. Though it might get extended out to 3 depending on how long this finale is. But either way, I'm very excited to bring us to the conclusion of the series. And if you're feeling nostalgic, maybe you could go back to the compilation of my Phobias as Demons episodes to see what this universe was like before I started this storyline. But besides that, that's all for today, except of course for ending this video on some kind of positive or inspiring note. And the thought I want to leave people with today is a quote I read this week by a guy named Cory Muscara, who said the biggest killer of dreams is the fear that we disguise as being realistic. The way that I like to look at any career goal or whatever it is in that sort of vein is that if somebody else has done it, it's possible for me to do if I really want to and I'm willing to commit to it.
Exactly.
And even if nobody has done it, that doesn't mean it's impossible. It just means nobody's done it yet.
Exactly.
So if you've been told or you tell yourself, be realistic, throw that away. If there's something that you really want to try doing, just go ahead and try it. The worst thing that can happen is you become better at something you care about in the process of trying. I hope that's inspiring. I love you all, and I'll see you all in the next episode on Friday. Goodbye.
Alright everyone, that's going to be the end of today's video, and I hope you all enjoyed. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Link to the original will be in the description below, and I'll see all of y'all next time when we flick back on. Until then, this is Fox, signing out. Peace.